All right, Exodus 19, let's call this one treasure because that is exactly what God is promising the people of Israel, that they will be his treasured possession if, as the old folks used to say, they simply do right. And even though that might not be a direct quote, it's very similar to something we're going to see in verse 5 of chapter 19, where it reads, "Now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine." And so understand the context is God bringing them out of the bondage of the Egyptians who were not doing right by the children of Israel, taking the children of Israel into the land of Canaan to replace people who were not doing right by the good land that God had given them. And so when he is bringing them in to the promised land, he is not bringing them in to simply repeat the same old bad habits of the Canaanites. He is telling them, you need to walk in the kinds of ways that will match the quality of the land that I'm giving you. We've talked about it before. Good opportunities, new opportunities especially, deserve our best. And that is exactly what God is doing here, where he's trying to get them off on the right foot, understanding that in the next chapter, we're going to see him give the 10 commandments. But before that, one of the advantages to doing right is having God intervene and step into situations where we can't necessarily defend ourselves, whether it's talking on our own behalf or simply having to stand up for ourselves. We're going to see in Moses one of the advantages to walking in ways that God is willing to endorse. In verse 9, where it reads, "And the Lord said to Moses, behold, I am coming to you in a thick cloud, that the people may hear when I speak with you, and may also believe you forever." God is putting his endorsement on Moses at this point, and that is the advantage of behaving in ways that God is willing to put his co-signature on. And so when we see Moses, we see one of the advantages of this concept I've been talking about for the last few chapters: integrity. Integrity seems like it carries obligations, but it also can carry advantages far beyond our expectation. Who thought, especially Moses, after all of the difficulties he had been through, all of the attacks, not just from Pharaoh, but from within the nation, when things weren't going well, and the first person they had to lash out at was Moses, who thought that God was going to give him a personal endorsement after all the drama he went through, seeming to just speak on God's behalf? But here it is. After enduring all of that difficulty, God's voice is giving him an endorsement. So understand what that means for us. This is a recurring theme throughout the Bible, that he is not just doing this for his favorites, but he's willing to do this for all of his people who are willing to simply, like we said, walk in integrity. Deuteronomy 32:36, "For the Lord will vindicate his people and have compassion on his servants when he sees that their power is gone and that there is none remaining, bond or free." Psalm 26:1, "Vindicate me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity, and I have trusted in the Lord without wavering." Psalm 35:24, "Vindicate me, O Lord, my God, according to your righteousness, and let them not rejoice over me." Psalm 43:1, "Vindicate me, O God, and defend my cause against an ungodly people. From the deceitful and unjust man, deliver me." Understand, walking in integrity, once again, even though it can seem like an obligation, it's an obligation that carries the advantage of giving me the peace of mind of being able to not have to justify myself or try to speak to people who really aren't trying to hear it anyway. Who really aren't trying to hear it anyway. When God speaks, he has a tendency to be able to shut all mouths. And so when he is speaking directly to Moses in the hearing of the people, he is removing all doubt. And so my prayer for you is my prayer for me, that we live with the kind of integrity that allows us to hold our heads up high and persuade God that we are the kind of people worth vindicating in ways that we simply can't vindicate ourselves. God's best to you as you go forward in him, though.